Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Simon Carver, here with Billy Galligan. And Billy, I want to start today with a statistic that completely flipped my understanding of migration history. Between 1856 and 1921, half of all Irish emigrants to America were young, single women travelling entirely on their own. And if you look at places like County Mayo during the peak years of 1886 to 1905, the female to male emigration ratio was a staggering 175 to 100.
175 women for every 100 men. It's a wild number when you think about it, Simon. Most folks think of migration as fathers heading out first to build a log cabin, or families huddling together on the deck of a ship. But this was a march of single lasses, averaging just 21 years of age. Young girls, really, stepping off the pier with nothing but a cardboard suitcase and a bit of hope. Sure, why not? But the reality waiting for them on the other side of the Atlantic wasn't exactly a red carpet.
Right. They land in these massive American cities and instantly become the target of intense nativist anxiety. And that anxiety crystallised into this incredibly cruel cultural caricature in the media. Bridget. She was drawn in magazines like Harper's Weekly as this ape-like, clumsy, aggressive caricature with a heavy jaw and sloped forehead. She was the anti-ideal of American womanhood.
Oh, the Bridget cartoons. They made her look practically Neanderthal, didn't they? It was pure slagging, but with a nasty, vicious edge to it. The American middle class was terrified of these young Catholic women invading their domestic sanctuaries. They wanted cheap labor to scrub their floors and cook their meals, but they were absolutely petrified of the culture, the accent, and the faith these girls brought into their homes.
And the isolation of that life must have been crushing. Unlike factory workers who went home to Irish neighbourhoods at 6 o'clock, these domestic servants lived in the attics of their employers. They were on call 24 hours a day, completely cut off from their community, navigating this constant low-grade friction with Protestant mistresses who looked down on them.
It was a lonely road, Simon. Imagine being 21, miles from Dublin or Mayo, living in a tiny, freezing attic room above a family that treats you like an alien species. You're surrounded by wealth you can't touch, and your accent is mocked every time you speak. But those lasses had a lot more steel in their spines than those mistresses realized. They weren't just going to sit there and take it.
That's the incredible twist in this story. Despite the isolation, these Bridgets actually realised they held a massive economic card. There was a desperate, insatiable shortage of domestic help in America, and they used that leverage to completely upend the power dynamic. They started demanding specific off hours, higher wages, and they explicitly negotiated for time off to attend Sunday Catholic Mass.
They were brilliant. They'd practically hire their employers. If a mistress was too demanding or didn't want them slipping out to Mass on a Sunday morning, the lass would just pack her trunk and walk out the door. There was a fresh job waiting for her 3 doors down the street. It drove the employers mad. They called it servant girl sassiness, but it was just smart business. They knew their worth.
And that sassiness funded an entire nation. The amount of money these women sent back home is mind-boggling. We are talking about millions of dollars in remittances. That money didn't just pay the rent back in Ireland. It paid for the steamship tickets for their sisters, their brothers, and eventually their parents. It was a chain migration engine run almost entirely on maids' wages.
It was the lifeline, Simon. Every $5 bill tucked into an envelope and sent across the Atlantic was a brick in the bridge to America. They were working 18-hour days, saving every penny, not to buy fancy dresses, but to rescue the family back home. It's a beautiful, fierce kind of love. And when those families finally arrived, these women made sure the next generation never had to scrub another person's floor.
Right. They became the foundational mothers of Irish America. They poured their savings into parochial schools and college tuition. By the time their children grew up, they weren't in service. They were teachers, lawyers, police officers and politicians.
Exactly. They took the caricature of Bridget and rebuilt it into a legacy of absolute strength. They started with nothing but a lone voyage, and they ended up shaping the entire landscape of modern America.